It is the 4th day of April 2022. A very good evening to you and welcome to Hope TV Newswatch. My name is Kennedy Kimani and Elizabeth Wanjiku will be assisting the sign language interpretation. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta signed into law 5 parliamentary bills, among them the 2022 Supplementary Appropriation Bill, and allocated a sum of 34.44 billion shillings to be released to oil marketers as fuel subsidy to ease the ongoing fuel crisis. The fuel shortage crisis seems to be worsening by the hour, with several fueling stations across the country experiencing crowds of motorists hoping to fill their tanks. The crisis, according to the industry players, has been fueled by the government's debt to oil marketing companies as it tried to stabilize oil prices. Dickens Luvanda begins our bulletin with the following report.
Kenyans have gotten a reprieve in the ongoing fuel shortage that has been witnessed across pump stations countrywide. For the past weeks, motorists have been queuing as filling stations run out of fuel.
Pesa barabarani inaongezeka. Aduna hata wizingine ya kufanya biashara, ila tu ni kutafuta mafuta kila mahali.
Mambo ya petroli ya mafuta tumepata sita kubwa. Sana kama petroli. Tunafika petroli sasa tunaambiwa hakuna mafuta. Tunafika wengine kuna tumeona mafuta tunaambiwa ni 200 barita. Sasa kuchukua abiria ni pesa ngapi tutasachukulia abiria? Na uchumi imekuwa mbaya.
According to the fuel industry players, the fuel crisis has been fueled by the government's debt to oil marketing companies as it tried to stabilize oil prices.
Kutoka asubuhi saa 10 nimeshinda nikisugukia mafuta. Sasa hii tunaumia, hata tunashindwa watoto wetu watakula wapi. Mafuta saa hii iko juu sana. Juu mafuta yenye ulikuwa unanunua hata ukiweka 1 lita unadhokoma, saa hii ukiweka 1 lita unaona bado unaumia.
Actually ukiangalia hivi watu ni wengi. Wanataka mpaka ukanyanga kwa pump. So mafuta haiwezi uzika. Ni petroli. Petroli is a very risky thing. And ndio maana unaona kwanza tumesimamisha pump. Ndio maana unaona kwanza tumesimamisha pump. Atuuzi kwa sasa mpaka watu wanjipange na raini wakuwe ondale wapate mafuta kila mtu waweze kwenda nyumbani.
On Monday, President Uhuru Kenyatta signed a supplementary budget bill into law, therefore allowing the release of 34.4 billion shillings to oil marketing companies across the country and lowering fuel prices, a move likely to trigger the resumption of normalcy in the fuel sector.
Make up for like 2 hours right now. Since nianze nimeenda sofa nimeenda like petrol station 5. Total nimeenda 3. Thika Road kuanzia Kasarani nimetembea mpaka hadi saa hizi. Tumetulia hapa ya. Venye tu price ya mafuta imeenda juu.
We have never experienced this. Why do we go through all this?
The Kenya Pipeline Company Managing Director Masheria Irungu, in a statement last weekend, said there was enough fuel, which is over 69 million liters of super petrol, more than 94 million liters of diesel, 13 million liters of kerosene, and 23 million liters of jet fuel available in its reserves to serve all Kenyans. Like other frontier economies, Kenya is reeling from a surge in crude oil prices since the year 2021, which has forced it to start subsiding retail prices. Kenya rolled out fuel subsidy in April last year to cushion consumers from the surge in the price of oil in international markets. According to the National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi, the government should crack down on any oil industry players suspected of sabotaging to cause a fuel crisis.
Fuel shortage, which has been reported in some parts of the country, and to appeal to the people in the industry, particularly the regulators, to rise to the occasion and ensure that there is adequate supply of the commodities, because the Kenya pipeline says that they have sufficient stocks, and therefore, if it's an issue of sabotage, let it be investigated and action taken quickly to make sure that Kenyans don't suffer.
Dickens Luvanda, Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you so much, Dickens, for that report. Now, the Kenya Kwanza Alliance has demanded accountability on fuel subsidy, alleging that the funds have been channeled to other state and private entities. In a joint press conference, Deputy President William Ruto, accompanied by ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi, said the situation has been worsened by corruption and state capture. Ruto says the fuel shortage crisis could have been averted had public officials charged with dispensing subsidies done so in a timely and efficient manner.
Millions of Kenyans are witnessing in bewildered agony as fuel pumps run dry and queues grow longer due to this artificial shortage, which has already disrupted the entire transport sector. The Auditor General has already raised questions on the irregular and illegal diversion of these consumer protection funds to state agencies and unnamed private entities. She has also decried abuse on the petroleum import system in favor of some preferred and politically connected oil marketers deliberately depriving Kenyans of the subsidy mechanism. Can the Treasury also confirm or deny that the diversion of funds has been used in debt servicing and infrastructure development without the approval of the National Assembly? Can the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum list the import quotas that have been allocated to oil marketers over the last 1 year, and which are these oil marketers by name?
Moving on, for the second day, the Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Raila Odinga led the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance coalition political party in campaigning in Turkana County ahead of the August 9th polls. Odinga, accompanied by Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, NARC Kenya's Martha Karua, and former Gatanga MP Peter Kenneth, say their plans as a coalition are to better lives for the people of Turkana and Kenyans and to help foster peace and tranquility amongst communities. Odinga said the Azimio la Umoja Oka coalition is committed to ending the water crisis that bites the region by sinking boreholes and erecting water tanks to be used in harvesting rainwater, which will in turn be treated for use by the locals. At the same time, Odinga said pastoralists in the North Rift region will benefit from livestock insurance if he is elected as the president.
Kwa upande wa matibabu, tunasema tutaboresha hali ya matibabu katika taifa letu. Tutajenga vituo karibu na wananchi. Ile hospitali ya Lodwar tutainua, itakwenda level 6 hospital. Sawa sawa? Na hapa mtakuwa na level 5 hospital. Hata kule Mlokichogyo kile mahali. Sawa? Alafu tutaleta kitu inaitwa Baba Care. Semeni Baba Care. Baba Care. Baba Care. Baba Care. Baba Care itahakikisha kwamba kila Mkenya, watoto, wamama, vijana, wazee, wote wako chini ya bima ya matibabu. Nikishika hatamu ya utawala, siku ile mtaona mimi nimeshika Biblia, ati mimi Raila Amolo Naambia nyinyi mtahesabu siku 100 ya kwanza, the first 100 days of Baba's government. Mtaona mabadiliko makubwa zaidi.
Now, the Director of Public Prosecutions, Nurdin Haji, says he's committed to ensuring that perpetrators of electoral offences are prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Haji led his office in inaugurating a 4-day workshop at the Kenya School of Government to discuss election-related offences, a function that was also attended by the IBC Chair Wafula Chebukati, Chief Justice Martha Koome, among other dignitaries. Koome assured the judiciary is determined to build trust in the judicial system among Kenyans through upholding justice. Tess Njenga has more.
In a bid to ensure justice is served on any electoral disputes that arise during the upcoming general elections, the judiciary is seeking to train magistrates on electoral preparedness. Speaking in Nairobi during the launch of the ODPP Compendium on Electoral Justice, Chief Justice Martha Koome said there are 120 special courts gazetted to handle election-related disputes countrywide.
We've been working with the IBC to train the judiciary on how to effectively deal with these disputes. And as we train them, I always tell them, my heart pumps because I was a trial judge, and the person I feared most was the returning officer, because this is the one who is given the inherent power to declare who is the winner and who is the loser. We will soon also ask for a training to be mounted for 120 special courts that we gazetted the judiciary to deal with the electoral offences, because we must continue to read from one script.
According to the DPP Nurdin Haji, his office is committed to ensuring that perpetrators of electoral offences are prosecuted. After the launch of the compendium, the ODPP embarked on a countrywide sensitization of various stakeholders, including members of the public, on election and hate speech offences.
The development of the compendium on electoral justice was informed by an analysis of the cases handled by the ODPP emanating from the past elections, which identified the urgent need for a paradigm shift in the prosecution of electoral offences. The compendium is therefore intended to address identified gaps and ensure consistency, accountability, transparency, and integrity in the investigations and prosecutions of electoral and related offences. In addition, the compendium has incorporated progressive concepts, elements, and principles of international criminal law, such as command and superior responsibility.
The ODPP, IPOA, and the National Police Service have developed guidelines to guide investigators and prosecutors to handle police excesses. The National Human Rights Commission has already set up an election hub and will collaborate with other stakeholders to ensure electoral justice.
We have set up an election hub, and we will collaborate with your office and the other government institutions to ensure that we collect evidence on the violations that will be meted on the Kenyans during the election, and as a commission we commit to work with all the other institutions to ensure that electoral justice and political accountability are realized in this country.
The President today also signed the supplementary budget bill allocating an additional 8 billion Kenya shillings to the electoral body to enable it to sufficiently prepare for the August 9 polls. For Hope TV News Watch, I'm Tess Njenga.
Thank you so much, Tess, for that report. Now, the ODM National Chairman John Mbadi has condemned Friday's attack on his party leader Raila Odinga, terming it as an orchestrated attack by youth who have had paramilitary training. Mbadi suspects there is illegal paramilitary training happening in some parts of the country and called on security agencies to investigate, terming it a matter of great concern for the country. Grace Wangoi tells us more.
Tension has continued to escalate over the attack on Azimio la Umoja presidential aspirant Raila Odinga on Friday. The incident attracted mixed reactions across the political divide. Speaking in his capacity as the national chairman for ODM, Minority Leader John Mbadi alleged that the attack on Odinga was a well-coordinated attack by a group of youths whom he claimed had paramilitary training due to their ease of communication and their tactical retreat from the police.
If you look at the way the youths were conducting themselves, the way they were organized, the way they were approaching the helicopter, the way they were retreating wherever the police officers fired gunshots in the air, you could easily see that these are people who have not just been picked and given an assignment to go and cause mayhem. These are people who are coordinated, organized, and given some drills and training on how to behave. So that one, I don't think you need a security expert.
While appreciating government efforts that have seen some of the youth involved in the incident arrested and an investigation launched, Mbadi said more should be done to investigate whether there is an underground training of youths to cause chaos in campaign rallies ahead of August polls.
And I'm asking the government, please don't stop by just inviting these youth and arresting them and inviting some 2 or so MPs to appear and be interrogated. We want to know whether somebody has trained some youth in this country to behave in a manner that is likely or is portraying that they have some basic trainings in security matters or in parliamentary, so to speak.
Odinga and his convoy were from the burial of businessman Jackson Kibor in Soy, Uasin Gishu County, when the attack happened, with Odinga blaming Uasin Gishu Governor Jackson Mandago and Soy MP Caleb Kositani for the fracas. Kositani, his Kapseret counterpart Oscar Sudi, and Uasin Gishu County Assembly Speaker David Kiplagat were grilled at the Nakuru DCI headquarters in relation to the incident over the weekend. A total of 17 suspects arrested for stoning Odinga's chopper were arraigned at an Eldoret court on Monday and will remain in police custody until when the case will be mentioned on April 14th. Since the incident, political leaders allied to the DP have castigated ODM for failing to react quickly toward DP Ruto's past attacks.
And possibly, I think also the attack on Wanjigi in Migori. There was also attack on the deputy president in Murang'a and many other places. We have come out very strongly as a party to condemn any form of violence, including the one in Kondele. The one in Kondele, if the DP side felt there was some kind of training that was given to the youths who attacked him in Kondele, then they can also say it. But if you ask me, I did not see any training. I saw youths who threw stones, and that was the end of it.
On his part, Suna East MP Junet Mohammed, through his Twitter, claims he has been summoned to appear before the DCI detectives in relation to the stoning of ODM leader Raila Odinga's chopper. President Uhuru Kenyatta, speaking after attending a church service at African Inland Church AIC Pipeline on Sunday, condemned the attack, stating that such politics were divisive and had the capacity to fuel violence.
Sasa kwenda kule kupiga ndege ya baba, unapiga ndege imekufanya nini? Kama kitu ingetokea hapo, hiyo jiwe iwe imeipiga huyo mzee, si hiyo ni moto ungewaka taifa letu la Kenya? Tunataka mambo kama haya? Tunataka mambo kama haya? Watu waombe kura kwa njia ya heshima na amani. Si namna hiyo? Kutangaza msimamo ya mtu sio kufanya wewe ni adui yake. Ni msimamo wako tu. Mimi nikisema naunga baba mkono, mimi sisemi mwingine ni umbaya, lakini kura yangu mimi najua pahali nataka iende.
Grace Sangoi for TV News Watch.
Thank you so much, Grace, for that report. Now, still on the same story, Siaya leaders have condemned the attack on Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Raila Odinga and called for political tolerance amongst politicians soliciting for votes ahead of the August 9th polls. Led by Ugenya Member of Parliament David Ochieng and Siaya ODM movement gubernatorial aspirant George Mugoe Mbeya, the leaders called on security agencies to ensure that all those responsible for the attack on former Prime Minister's helicopter are brought to book. Now, the rivalry between Mombasa women representative Asha Hussein and her opponent Zamzam Mohammed is escalating over rigging allegations in the just concluded ODM polls. According to Asha Hussein, she was psychologically prepared for the nominations during the primaries instead of opinion polls, where she said she had spent a lot of money through the intensive grassroots door-to-door campaign in the whole county, popularizing the ODM leader Raila Odinga. In her counter-retaliation, Mama Zamzam Mohammed urged Asha Hussein to accept the opinion polls, saying she had been on the ground selling her agenda, hence stopping her in the poll. Mombasa Women Rep Asha Hussein confirmed they are waiting for the confirmation ODM National Secretariat if the dispute will be resolved through a third opinion poll or nomination.
Na imani ya kwamba nikipatiwa tikiti ya ODM nitadeliver kiti, kwa sababu nimefanya kazi nyingi sana grassroots na nimeuza baba sana. Na cha kusikitisha ni kwamba hakuna nominations. Tukiangalia tumesha print posters, tumeprint mabango, hata tunashindwa cause fate bado iko na election board. Tutakapokutana tarehe 5 na tarehe 6 kujua mwelekeo ni gani. Na pia nashukuru katika polls zote zenye zimekuwa zikirushwa kwa public, nimekuwa lead kama women rep, na imani hii ya mwisho pia naenda kulead.
Mimi nimekuwa consistent katika ground, na mimi nataka nimwambie mwenzangu, hata magazeti yalionyesha kuwa she's the worst performer. Hata kwenye Hansard ya parliament imeonyeshwa kuwa hazungumzi ndani ya bunge, na tukiingia ground kila mahali wafukuzwa. Mimi nataka nimwambie, in fact, kama kuna mtu ambaye angepata the highest points ni Mama Zamzam, kwa sababu sijawahi kutoka ground.
Moving on, Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i and his transport counterpart James Macharia led a team of engineers from the Kenya Urban Roads Authority, KURA, and Kenya Railways Corporation to assess the viability and draw up plans for the construction of a U-turn near Taj Mall along Outer Ring Road in Nairobi. The U-turn will facilitate easier movement to and from Embakasi East and Embakasi South constituencies.
Tumezungumza na viongozi wenu kwa sababu tumeangalia pande hii na tumekubaliana nao kwamba sasa, kwa sababu sisi zote tumeelewa hii shida vizuri, tuwapee nafasi hawa engineers wa KURA na wale wa Kenya Railways wapange suluhisho ya pande hii, kwa sababu lazima tuzingatie usalama wa watu wetu. Sababu hii ilifungwa kwa sababu ya hii railway line ambayo iko hapa, na pia tunaongezea wagons na tutakuwa na more wagons katika pande hii. Tukifungua bila kuzingatia usalama, tunaweza kupotesha maisha pande hii.
Tunapitia hapa kila siku, lakini sasa tunajua kuna shida hapa chini. Kwa hivyo vile tumesema, mimi na principal secretary wangu, engineer Kinoti, engineers wa Kenya Railways, tutakaa tuone vile options tuko nazo. Mcholo icholwe nzuri sana, tujue kama ni overpass itakuwa namna gani, kama ni kitu kingine tutafanya itakuwa namna gani.
And now we are now taking a short commercial break, but we'll be back in a moment. Stay with us.
Hope TV is now available on Go 103, Zuku Channel 873, Signet Channel 817 and Star Times Channel 026. Enjoy our uplifting content and family-friendly programming anytime. Hope TV, you look and live.
Join us every Sunday for unlimited, uplifting, powerful worship, only on Extended Worship.
The Bible is unchanging and timeless, and its words are relevant for every generation. Join Dr. David Jeremiah each week on Turning Point as he delivers the unchanging Word of God to an ever-changing world. With his sincere, straightforward teaching style, David Jeremiah provides a rich study of Scripture from which you can find spiritual strength, encouragement, and guidance for today's world. Join Dr. Jeremiah every week on Turning Point, right here on this station.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, Education CS Professor George Magoha has urged private school owners to take seriously the construction of CBC junior secondary classrooms, saying there is still construction in private institutions, a trend that is worrying. Speaking during the commissioning of CBC classrooms in Ituru Boys, Kauguini Secondary and Gadage Secondary School in Gatundu South, Kiambu County, Magoa said despite the CBC classroom construction having been delayed by KCC exams, the government is on course to deliver the 10,000 CBC junior secondary classrooms in the first phase, where 5,000 classrooms are completed by now, an initiative the government has set aside 8 billion for.
There was an initial delay. I'm being told out of the 20, we have now constructed 18, and the other 2 will be completed by next week. So it's worrying me because, you know, this is where the president comes from. And if we have completed classrooms all over the place, including in my own county, it won't look very nice. Globally, we have constructed close now to 5,000 classrooms, which are physical, and you can actually inspect them. Nyanza, the northern region is 100%. It became 100% 8 weeks ago. The Nyanza region is at 97%. I have a feeling it will be 100% toward the end of this week. Globally, we are at actually approaching 90% of the classrooms being constructed. We were slowed down by the examination process. Now that the exam is complete, we want to marshal everybody so that we deliver the 6,497 classrooms before the end of this month, in time for us to start the phase 2. As you are aware, my target is to get 10,000 classrooms by the end of July, and it is something that we can actually deliver as per His Excellency the President's directive at that time, that we will provide 8 billion shillings for 10,000 classrooms.
Moving on, prison inmates at Manyani Maximum Security Prison now want the government through the Ministry of Education to fully absorb inmates who are taking primary and secondary examinations into full curriculum, saying it is evident that a great number of inmates have shown interest of getting formal education, and this is one of the ways of reforming in a correctional facility that will help them after completing serving their sentence. Manyani Prison emerged one of the best performing with a mean score of 311, with top candidate emerging with 401 marks in the 2021 KCP.
Hizo resources so ziko limited. Kama umetupatia opportunity ya kuweza kuendelea na kufanya masomo kama hatujafanya huko nje, na wameamua kusupport kwa moyo wao wote, nafasi ikipatikana ya kwamba resources zinazotakana katika shule, anything yenye inakuwa probative value kwa mwanafunzi iweze kuwa available, iweze kupatikana.
If we have enough facilities, classrooms, stationaries, it will indeed draw many inmates who are idle. And in fact, if we get more and more facilities, I can say we can do much better than what we have done.
We believe that with the better facilities or with more resource being pumped into this area, we can be able to make better citizens from the prisons. Because this is a chance for them to reform and to be better so that they go out to be able to build the nation.
And the Kenya Driving Schools Association has asked the National Transport and Safety Authority to open an online portal for users to access and address their queries. Samuel Kamau, who is the national chair of the Kenya Driving Schools Association, has blamed the National Transport and Safety Authority for the mess in the boda sector. According to Kamau, NTSA closed its portal, barring any acquisition of driving licenses from the 15th of February. Kamau claims NTSA closed the portal and suspended 7 major services, including licenses of driving schools, drivers, and instructors, after losing a court case on the 27th of January.
And I feel very sad that we are taking our young people round and round circles. The government had better tell these people the truth, that maybe what you are doing in the Huduma centers is to register these people, the bodas, into the circles so that you can manage them. But don't lie to them that you are giving them any license, because there is no license that is coming out in Kenya today. No one should be cheated that there is any license that you, and you cannot go to any Huduma office and get a license. The people who may get licenses from the Huduma centers are those ones who had the old driving red booklet, that is a driving license. Those ones can be given the smart driving license free of charge. So when they start blaming driving schools, that the driving schools are the ones who gave licenses, driving schools do not give licenses. Driving school trains, and therefore NTSA is a total mess.
Now, Kwale County Assembly Speaker Sami Rua is urging investors in the county to be sensitive to the needs of the local communities by working closely with the county government and local communities to avoid turning such projects into a curse on the people. Speaker Rua alleges that some families who gave up their land to pave way for the base titanium to commence mining of titanium ore in the area were paid peanuts for their land to have been living in misery, and a call for renegotiation of a new package to support their livelihoods.
Tuta renegotiate na base titanium tukijua kwamba mkataba upo na lazima tuheshimu mikataba ya kiserikali, lakini hakuna mkataba unakataza watu kunegotiate, kwa sababu hii ni hali ibuka. Tumezunguka, tunawaona watu wetu vile wanavyoumia, na tunajua kama hakungechimbwa madini pale kwao hakungekuwa na shida hizi, wangekuwa bado wanapanda maembe yao, wanapanda mahindi yao.
Base titanium kuajiri wananchi katika kampuni yao ni swala la sawa, kwa sababu ni haki ya mwananchi kupata ajira. Base titanium kuwafanyia wananchi maendeleo ni haki, kwa sababu haki yao bado hipo. Kampuni ya Base kuwafanyia wananchi lile swala ambalo pengine walikuwa hawajawafanyia na wako karibu na hii kampuni, hilo ni maswala ya sawa. Lakini swala la kwamba wananchi watolewe katika ardhi zao, hili ni swala ambalo ni zito, kwa sababu mwananchi yule, kuna mwananchi mnyonge ambaye akitoka pale hajulikani mahala ambapo atapelekwa.
Na kama Base ingekuwa inataka kurekebisha iwe mambo yao yataenda sawa, basi ingerekebisha na wale ambao wameondolewa, kwa sababu kuna watu wanateseka. Alafu kama unapanga mipango uondoe wengine wakati wengine wanateseka, hiyo ni kitu ambayo haiwezekani.
Now, the East Africa Legislative Assembly, EALA, members of parliament are holding a week-long sensitization program in an exercise that will be conducted in all 6 partner states concurrently. The exercise is aimed at enhancing the role of stakeholders in the implementation of the protocol on the establishment of the East African Community Common Market. Addressing the press, EALA MP Kennedy Musyoka said the region has much to gain after joining DRC into the community.
EALA hopes from the forthcoming stakeholder engagement to raise adequate level of public awareness about the Common Market Protocol, for ownership of the process, and to hold leadership and decision makers accountable to the EAC citizens. The synthesis of the outcome in Kenya and the rest of the partner states will also be percolated in the workings of the EALA, no doubt rendering vital legislation, oversight and policy initiatives for the EAC citizens. The sensitization for stakeholders is apt and timely, given the entry of the Democratic Republic of Congo in the community. Last week at the 19th Extraordinary Summit of the EAC Heads of State, chaired by His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya and Chair of the Summit of the EAC Heads of State, DRC's entry is a significant milestone for the region, given the expanded market. Kenya stands to gain a great deal from this new development, and this sensitization program of EALA shall, among other areas, spur the much-needed impetus for stakeholders to think beyond Kenya and therefore to reap and maximize the benefits from the regional integration process.
Have agreed to unify Army Command in a key development of the fragile peace agreement signed in 2018 after mediation from neighboring Sudan. The agreement provides for a division of 60% for the president's camp and 40% for the vice president's share of leadership positions in the army, police and national security forces. Tensions between forces loyal to the president and former rebel leader Riek Machar had escalated recently, raising international fears of a return to full-scale conflict in the world's youngest nation. The 2018 peace agreement provides for the principal power sharing in a government of national unity formed in February 2020, with Kiir as president and Machar as vice president. And now we are taking another commercial break, but don't go too far. We'll be back with the business and the sports news.
The Bible is unchanging and timeless, and its words are relevant for every generation. Join Dr. David Jeremiah each week on Turning Point as he delivers the unchanging Word of God to an ever-changing world. With his sincere, straightforward teaching style, David Jeremiah provides a rich study of Scripture from which you can find spiritual strength, encouragement, and guidance for today's world. Join Dr. Jeremiah every week on Turning Point, right here on this station.
Because women talk more and they are not very strong physically, when they want to hurt their husbands or their children or anybody, they use the tongue.
Families under God.
How can we continue to live carelessly in ease?
Join Reverend Dr. Judy Mbugua as she imparts families through prayer, evangelism, and social transformation with the Word of God.
You know, God is not asking you to manage. He's asking you to be available. Amen. And He will make you able and capable.
Families Under God, Sundays at 8:30 p.m. only on Hope TV. If it's hits you're looking for, then you've hit the cradle of them all. We know you have great taste for music, and we do too.
All things are working for my good, yeah, 'cause He's intentional.
Enjoy all-time Christian hits every Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. on Hope Junction.
So speak life to the deadest, darkest night. Speak life, speak life.
And now let's get down to business, where farmers bordering the Tsavo National Park in Taita Taveta County are now harvesting good yields following partnership interventions that have enabled to curb the human-wildlife conflict, which for years has posed threat to not only the agriculture sector, but to the lives of the local residents. According to Taita Taveta National Drought Management Authority County Coordinator Gabriel Mbogo, the partnership with Save the Elephant Project and the county government of Taita Taveta has seen an inventory of beehive fencing techniques to help scare away elephants from farms in the arid lands of Sagala Ward in Voi Sub-County.
Tuko na trainings zenye tumekuwa tukifanya. Kwa saa hii tunafanya hiyo tunaita community managed disaster risk reduction, ili uweze kupanga mikakati ya miradi ama strategies ambazo wanaweza tekeleza wenyewe kama community, na zile zenye watahitaji usaidizi kutoka nje, kwa mfano kama kwa serikali ama kwa mashirika ambayo itawasaidia kupunguza makali ya ukame na makali ya uvamizi wa wanyamapori.
Kupitia Save the Elephant asali ni kajenga kanyumba kidogo, ni kama room 2 na ka sitting room, hata mgeni akija ni, lakini sasa ninashukuru.
Save the Elephants, Elephant Bee Project inatumia nyuki kama kulinda, kama kifaa cha kulinda binadamu kutokana na hawa ndovu, kwa sababu kuna ule uharibifu wa mimea ambao mkulima akishapanda vyakula ndovu zinakuja kukula.
Hiyo fencing wire inazuia ndovu sana.
Tangu nimewekewa hii nimevuna pojo, kunde nimevuna.
Moving on, the Eco Business Fund has disbursed 1.1 billion shillings to Family Bank, increasing access to finance for sustainable agricultural producers, particularly in the tea sector. These new partnerships aim to support sustainability-certified companies as well as smallholder farmers implementing sustainable and climate-smart practices, ensuring the long-term competitiveness of the agribusiness sector. Kenya is the third largest tea producer in the world and is ranked the largest tea exporting country, representing approximately 22% of the global tea trade. And finally, in the business news, regional audit firm PKF Kenya has released an analysis of the state of the economy ahead of the 2022-2023 budget reading this Thursday. According to the audit firm, East Africa's economic outlook in 2022 is projected to have a regional average growth of 4.9%. With the DRC becoming the seventh member of the East African community, the firm also acknowledges that the EAC is already viewed as the most vibrant in Africa, as the move will make the bloc even more appealing to investors.
The inclusion of DRC into the East African community was inevitable. I mean, the East African community shares 5 borders. 5 countries share a border with DRC. So apart from Kenya, all the other countries actually share a border with DRC. And one of the interesting things to note is that for the first time, through legislation, we actually have a bloc, an economic bloc.
And to some sporting action, Alliance Girls High School dominated the Kenya National Youth Chess Championship held at the Khadija Secondary School in Mombasa County. The championships that began on Saturday attracted 1,500 players drawn from 195 institutions countrywide. Ivy Nyambura of Alliance Girls High School demonstrated her prowess in chess to take the lead in the girls under-18 categories with 3 points after the first to the fourth tie breaks. Players will present Kenya Africa Youth Chess Championship in June in Zambia.
From this championship, we are going to get our team of either 24 or 36 players who are going to represent the country internationally. In June, we have the Africa Youth Chess Championship that will be held in Zambia. So from here, we're going to get a team that is going to represent Kenya in Zambia. In June, we have a team that is going to Panama for the World Individual Schools. And that is a team that we formed in December from the Africa Schools Individual Chess Championship that we hosted in Nairobi. This tournament is going to run from today till 5th. So from 5th, we get to have our team. And then 6th, our players coming outside from Nairobi. I know we have players from Bungoma, we have players from Kitale, we have players from Pokot and Nanyuki Central. All those players are going to be leaving Mombasa on the 6th.
And to some rugby, Wamai Steve and Isao Otieno's tries were enough to seal KCB's 2018 hard-fought win against Impala in the Enterprise Cup semi-finals held at the Impala grounds. The first half of the game didn't see much action, with both teams winning 2 penalties to settle for 6-6 at the interval. In the second half, the Bunkers scored 2 quick tries to take a lead of 20-13 before the home side, full of gil and efforts, pushed the Bunkers to their limits. They scored at the death. The stage has now been set for this season's Enterprise Cup final as KCB will lock horns with defending champions Kabras Sugar, who thrashed Homeboys 37-11 in another semi-final clash in Kakamega.
I don't think anyone expected to come and just have the opponents just give you a clean, just an easy victory. I think that's what we expected of Impala, but nonetheless we made many mistakes today. We really didn't put our heads in maybe till the last play when we knew it was just do or die. But I just give it up to the boys for just working so hard to get the win. And also hats off to Impala. It was a very good performance from them. You know, looking back at the previous game in the season where we beat them, you know, I think 47-0. So I think hats off to everyone who was on the pitch today.
It's a knockout game, and in knockout games, teams always bring their A game. So Impala came to play to win as well. Seeing the situation they're in, they also look for silverware, which is commendable of them. They stepped up the game, and I would say KCB we didn't really rise up to the occasion, but all in all, a win is a win. And the character was good, but we've seen better from KCB. So I will say the boys could play better. They were half-hearted at some point when it mattered, especially at the critical areas in the strike zone in the 22. We were somehow not going all the way, also grinding and wearing the defense. When you had those chances, we were not using.
And finally, the FKF Premier League action resumed this weekend from the international break, with KCB FC locking horns with Tusker FC at the Ruaraka Sports Ground in a thrilling encounter that ended in a dramatic 1-1 draw. KCB's forward Derek Otanga opened the scoreline in the 14th minute, scoring a free kick after KCB FC's captain Simon Abuko was fouled right outside the box. The Bankers will hold on to the win until the last minute in the added time, when Tusker equalized to claim a point at their home ground. In other matches, AFC Leopards won 3-0 against Kenya Police. Kakamega Homeboys thrashed Ulinzi Stars 4-0, while Gor Mahia won 2-1 against Wazito FC.
At the end of the day, that's their work. That's their work. They are supposed to do minimal mistakes, because every mistake you make as an amateur official, it costs teams. So you have to be alert. You have to be alert for 90 and above minutes. So I can't say that they have VAR. No, that was a very clear ball. It was from a stagnant play, from a set piece. So it was not out of much movement. It was a throwing, which everybody stands. Yeah, so it was flicked, and the player who was there was outside and he scored. It's kudos. I think it's a big up for them. They played really well, considering that we were playing at the home of the champions. We played very well. We controlled the game throughout the 90 minutes. By the time 90 minutes was over, we are still leading. So sometimes that's football, and we take it as it is. But
and on that note, we come to the end of our news tonight. Many thanks to you for your valued company. On behalf of the whole team that made this bulletin a success, have yourselves a good night. My name is Kennedy Kimani, and Elizabeth Wanjiku has been the sign language interpreter.